collaborating hearts. Here we are together, speaking
Heart to
heart, and being able to share perspective and why it's so important to be able to live from our hearts, as opposed to the standard way for most people is, we're focused on getting things done, and it's a mental drive. We're constantly processing from the brain, this two-hemisphere organ that sometimes goes back and forth against itself.
Yes.
Where in the heart, it's pretty pure and straightforward and unified, and wanting just to be the best person that we can be for ourselves and everyone in life. So it's really, especially for this time right now, it's very important to be able to learn to feel your heart and recognize what it's telling you and what's a really healthy direction for you.
So I was just in Utah, and I've been talking with a friend who is very business oriented and orientated, and just like doing like the Myers-Briggs testing and the MBI testing, and just some of this testing of like, how do you think? And then, kind of, I didn't really go into skill sets, but just how you think and how you behave. And it's really interesting to me that as accurate as those things feel, it's also like I can also know that in my heart without having a test. Now, does the test help me? Has the test helped me kind of like confirm some things I know about myself and like, oh, that's why this works for me, or that's why that works for me? Yeah, but this heart thing of like, how does it feel?
Yeah.
Like Kyle, he always says, is it a 10? How are things a 10 for me? So the things that seem abstract are as real as the things that are concrete.
Yeah.
That's what's so interesting to me, is like, yeah, they line up, like we kind of like to keep things separate, like, oh, maybe that's kind of woo-woo.
Yeah.
And this is very real, but yet they're so supporting. The evidence is just...
It's there. It's across the board. It's really, it's an amazing thing. When you're talking about how it feels to be in your heart, can you share that in terms of like recognizing that feeling? How does it feel to be in the heart?
I can feel it in my body.
Yeah.
Like,
it's not just one location, right? It's
not
like,
just one location, but all over.
Yeah.
And it's just like, either when I say feel it, it's like a feeling of peace. There might be some scared, like, oh, can I really do it? But yet inside it feels very peaceful. Like, yeah, I can. My head's telling me these reasons why I can't, but everything inside me is going like, go for it.
Yeah.
You can do it. So it's that peace. It's a peace that just, it like surpasses everything. I don't know how to say it.
No, I get it. That level of peace, it's like, it's so encompassing if you allow yourself to kind of feel it and see it. If you go in a little bit, as opposed to focusing on the exterior and what it is that we have to get done, what we're looking to do. Like you were saying, a business friend, and how he winds up, tasking out what has to get done. It's easy to overlook what the heart is naturally trying to tell us, and hey, this is a great space right here. Work from here first, and then all the other stuff will follow naturally, as opposed to it feeling forced and like really stressful, or having a lot of anxiety to try to get it done. Feeling that, for me, like it's like a vibration. It's like a subtle vibration that once I'm aware of it, it becomes even stronger. Yeah. So I kind of focus within this space, even though we're saying like it's a whole body thing, and it absolutely is. Initially, if I work within this area and just feel the presence of the heart, it feels like I'm in that space. And there's an alignment too that seems to take place, energetically speaking. It feels almost as if I'm aware of straight above, and I know we've discussed this before in the past, like it's, I look up, or I feel like something above me, directly above me. When I do that, it basically aligns me in a way where I get into my heart like that. And I don't have to like have the brain second guess or question, or kind of like you don't have time for this, or what is this all about? This isn't even really happening. No, it is. It brings you right here, and once you're here, you feel this unification and this peace, like you were saying, and it does grow within the body itself. And it's almost like you're operating at a level that is far superior than just operating from the brain. Like, things just naturally unfold, I think, in a faster, more efficient way. Like, if you want to try to get something done, it seems, logically you want to task it out, you want to plan it all, you want to write it all down. And I'm not saying that isn't a good thing to do, but before you do that, go to your heart first, find that level of peace, the support in, I know I can do this. I can accomplish whatever it is that's in front of me, whatever my responsibilities are, whatever the things are that I take on in life. I know I can handle them by first going here, and then you go and do the other things that you typically do to accomplish all those goals. All the business oriented things, and, like I said, responsibilities. So
and it's almost like you go inside first, because that's what those tests were showing, is like, this is not going to be your tendency. This is going to feel like work to you. When you're in your heart, and the test will show when you're in your whatever subcategory they put you in, when you're in that, things will flow. And so it's just so interesting to me how they're together. We just, maybe it's a different language, but it's the same thing. So that heart thing is so, you can just feel it. It's like, this is my groove. This is my, and then what I like, for me, what's happening is like creating that team around me. Like, okay, this is not my strong suit. This does not give me energy. This is not flow. This does turn into work. Am I capable of doing work? Absolutely. And at times I have to. But to recognize where I really flow, and to surround myself with people like you. Like right now, you know how to do all this. This would be overwhelming to me to set up cameras, set up mics, lighting, all this. This would be overwhelming. Could I do it? Yep.
Sure. Yeah, of course.
But
is it work? It could be, depending on the perspective. Right. I think like our vibe is our tribe, right? Yeah. Like whatever our vibration winds up being, we attract the people that are operating at that same kind of frequency. How people wind up finding each other, especially as like adults, like how do you make new friends at like an older age? I don't know. It just sort of happens. Your vibrations put out there, and people just naturally get magnetically attracted to each other based on what they're about, what their interests are, and that's, I think, what happened with us.
Oh yeah, I went to our mutual friend's house. I don't think you'd ever been to their house.
Yeah, no, it's my first time being there.
Yeah, we had a group there, and I had seen something about you on Facebook, and I was like, that guy looks interesting to me. Maybe I'll connect with him someday.
He's a character.
Yeah, but when I walked in there, your hair was cut different, or something was totally different.
I think it was longer than I had a lot. Yeah, the picture that I had on Facebook at the time was a shorter cut like this, and I think at the time when we met at the woman's house, it was longer hair. So
yeah, but I was like, I think that's the guy, and I hadn't really studied you that much or anything. I'd just seen it a day or so before. Went to these. Like, he's here. That's interesting. Well, things don't just happen for no reason.
There's no coincidence.
So there was. I think there was two people in between us.
Yeah.
And I was like, how do I get a little bit closer to him? And they got up to get a drink or something. I just moved over a little closer to you.
I'm telling you, this is so funny that you're saying it this way, because I remember the two people that were there, and one person specifically asked me a question about something, and I said something that she did not like at all. And it was just, talk about vibration and who sits well with someone and who doesn't sit well with someone. I was explaining the true priority for humanity is to be free. And she looked at me with this really scornful look, like, freedom? You don't think that we're free? And I said, no, of course we're free. But I said, ultimately, humanity is expanding to get an even fuller expression of freedom. And she just did not like that at all. Like, isn't humanity free right now? And I said, yeah, of course, but we're limited in what it is that we, what we think we can accomplish, what we think we can do. So that was something that didn't vibrate with her. She moved, and here we go.
Yeah, I kept looking for that.
That's so funny.
I got a little closer, and if you said something like that to me, I'd be like, tell me more.
Yeah, exactly, right? Well, what about this freedom that you're talking about? It's so funny.
Yes.
And I don't remember exactly what we were discussing, but I was like, oh, this is someone that I'm going to be friends with. There's no doubt.
So nonchalantly like that,
Yeah,
Daken,
so
because
relaxed.
I was super excited. Like, oh, this is going to be...
Yeah.
I'm friends with. I was just excited to get to... You told me how I could get a hold of you, and
Yeah.
then we met, and
That's
yeah,
right.
like...
I'm going to add to this because I remember, doing sessions with people, doing energy work with people and meditations and so forth. You weren't, you were interested, but it wasn't like you already knew you didn't need anything specific.
No,
It
I
was
didn't know
just-
I didn't need anything.
Yeah.
But-
well, oh, you didn't? Okay, but you
No.
didn't. Let me explain, like, when I learned directly, whether you said it or not, that, this is someone that just naturally lives in her heart, and how rare of a person that is. So, we were doing some level of meditation together, and there was somebody else with us, and working on methods to get into your heart by using visual techniques. And you were immediate. It was like there was no real, it usually takes like a minute to 2 minutes to kind of drop in for those that are not really experienced. And for you, it was literally like, I'm there already. I don't know why we're doing this visual like meditation to do it. I said, oh, this is someone that's really special. And just automatically knows this is the space that I want to live from and see from. And that's when I was like, oh, there's something here where we can, and it's manifesting into this right now, us collaborating in this way to talk about it, But it's such a beautiful thing, and you already know this, but just for the sake of getting it on tape and on record, I'm so grateful to have you in my life, for us to be able just to share in this way and just recognize, hey, there's other people out there that are really invested in this way of being. And, it can be incredibly liberating for those that want to play in it and feel within that space. I'm just very happy that we did meet, and we've been able to have such a strong friendship as a result of just us vibing. That alone is enough. I
don't know if you noticed, but there's close to tears right
You're
now.
tearing up a little bit.
Yeah, because it is so close to my heart, and meeting you has helped me recognize more of who I am. Like, like I see many people searching in this arena of being in your heart and energy and all this stuff that, for whatever reason, I didn't have to do that. It was just natural to me, but I didn't even know that. So when I would come to something and learn about being in your heart, like I remember that night, and when we got done, I was like, what's wrong with me? Because everybody just didn't seem to be there. Like, there were a couple of people in the group that were like, yeah, the whole meditation, I was trying to get into my heart. And me, I'm like, well, I thought I was in my heart. Am I not in my heart? Because it seems like it's really difficult to get in your heart, and I think I'm in my heart. So does that mean I'm just making this up in my head or what?
Yeah.
But it's not. And I really have come to realize that and accept that. And to me, it's like a gift. It's a gift to just be in this space. And I know this space really well.
Yeah.
And
that's why, we want to be able to share that with people out there, just to recognize, wait, how exactly is it that you do that? How do you get into that space? And how do you not second guess yourself? How do you allow yourself to kind of flow with it? Mm-hmm. So it's great. Yeah. You are special. All of us out there are special.
We all are. Right.
And it is, right now, it is a unique thing. Or I should say, like, for most people, it's not a very common thing, but it's shifting as more people are awakening to just the power of our heart, and how it is, in fact, a thinking organ. It is not just this thing that pumps blood. It literally has thinking cells on a level that it is going beyond what the brain can do. And there's lots of scientific studies in that. So it's not a joke. Like, it's all backed by, standard science. And what we can actually do with it. It's just a beautiful thing.
it's simple. You might not think it's easy, but I think that's because we overthink so much. We're taught these methods that if you do this and this, you'll get this result.
Yeah.
And when I talk to people, it's just helping them see they're in their heart. We can be in our heart really easily.
Yeah.
It's our head that's like, we got to have this and this and this to make this. But man, when you talk to people and you like just a few leading questions and stuff to like, oh, I am in my heart.
I see it right there.
Oh, it's right there.
Yeah.
And
there's like, it's almost like there's really no other place to be. It's in fact, I think this is essentially what you're saying. It's like we already are in our hearts, and that's consistent. The thing is, we've kind of cut off our ability to recognize it because we're up here all the time.
Yes.
And I think that's exactly right. It's like I said earlier about a presence, like you feel like a subtle vibration, and the more present you are to that vibration, it expands more and more. It's always been there, but it's almost like it's been dormant for so long because we haven't been able to recognize it. So it's just shifting your focus. All you do is shift your focus going into that space. I for one, like I visualize going there, and like I said, I feel like this alignment that's above my head, and once I feel this being almost like from the center of my head, I immediately just fall right in, and it's like, oh that's right, here we are.
It's natural.
Yeah. There's like like beta rhythm and alpha rhythm, or alpha vibration. Like beta is when we're really thinking directly from our brains and very task oriented, fight or flight, gotta move, gotta get things done. It's a doing perspective, where the heart is more just a being perspective. I'm existing right now, and I'm so focused on the all, like open to it all, and that's more of an alpha rhythm. And when you get into alpha, you're so like you said, your word was peace. It's peaceful. It's so peaceful, and it's it's not the inability to get something done. You're so peaceful that you can actually accelerate at getting things done, which is, it seems counterintuitive, but it's. Well,
the thoughts that's coming to my mind right now is like even something like walking. Like if we broke that down, and how, okay, your legs need to be directly under your hips, and you put this foot forward, and you really need to push off from the back of your glute to be walking correctly. And okay, now do the other one. And if we are consciously trying to do these efforts, it's not how you teach a baby how to walk. They just stand up and start walking. And then we try to break it down and duplicate that. That's where it becomes difficult. But when you're just in the flow, and that's what I think the hard thing is that we're in our hearts, and then we have this outside thing that's like teaching us the breakdown of how to walk, how to be in your heart, and that's like
the logical steps of everything.
And like, oh, am I doing it right? And
defining it all and judging it all and
judging it all.
It's like
just be it.
just be it. I like to think of I don't follow sports at all, but I highly respect like an athlete and what they're able to accomplish. And those that excel at what their sport is, they're in a rhythm and a flow, and it's coming because they're in a heart space. And not every athlete's like that, but the ones that are like playing at such a high level are. So it's pretty wild. So what do you think about talking how you came to recognize you being in your heart space?
Part of it was you.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. Part of it was you, and then part of it was this online school that I was in.
Okay.
And when they started putting words, and you start using words, I was like, oh, yeah, I know that. And so I didn't necessarily have the words for it.
I see.
But I was like, oh, I do that. Oh, instead of like trying to go through the textbook. And it came to me in a different way. Like you start having a conversation between you and I. You know some of the scientific data. You know some of the science, and I don't know that. But when you say it, I'm like, yeah, I know that.
I know that. I see. Yeah.
And so that was kind of how I recognized it. Probably in the very beginning was when my husband passed. which was 14 years ago.
Okay.
And feeling like my life, he died unexpectedly, and so my life was just turned upside down, and where do I go from here? I don't know anything. I felt like everything was pulled out from under me. And I say it's like this love moved into my home and surrounded me and embraced me, and it took me a while to recognize it, but yet I remember feeling like everything's going to be okay. And my head went, how can everything be okay?
It's fighting what you know is the truth of it's going to be fine, but it's telling you how is that possible? It's going to be okay. I just lost my husband, you know.
Yeah, and this man that changed my life and loved me so, and I loved him, and just had an amazing life like that.
Yeah.
Everything wasn't perfect, but
sure,
we had a great. We knew where we were.
There was a loving bond there.
Yeah, it was a loving bond. Yeah. And just like, how is it going to be okay? And, finances and all that stuff. Didn't know any of it. And I heard that everything was going to be okay. And so what I said was, I have no idea how that can be, but the alternative to being okay is that I'm not okay.
Yeah.
And that just doesn't seem like an acceptable thing. So I'm going to believe you, this voice.
Mm-hmm.
I call it the voice of love now. I didn't always call it that, but I call it the voice of love. I'm going to believe you until I believe it for myself.
Perfect. Yeah.
And so, it was a rough time, really rough time.
How long after your husband passed did you start kind of connecting with what you're calling the voice of love? Like, how soon did that start to happen?
Well, like I say, I didn't call it the voice of love, but actually I would say the first night.
Oh, wow. It was like immediate.
Yeah, because I was always, I didn't like to be alone at night. And Fred did music, and he would be gone practicing and stuff, and he would get home, and it was hard. I've never experienced anything that hard. And
I think that's a massive point to like sit for a second. Like, a level of stress that comes into life where you're shaken up in a way where you haven't really been before. It allows, as difficult as it is, it allows a space for new opportunity to show up. And here you are having something, again, you didn't call it the voice of love at the time, but something's kind of talking to you in a way. Like, you're aware of something that's different, that's kind of there supporting you in a different way. And that, as a result of losing your husband, you have this new thing that kind of comes into your life, and you're welcoming it, and you're starting to listen to it, and the beauty of what comes out of that over the past 14 years or so.
It was amazing, Daken. At that point in our lives, we were in the church. I didn't grow up in church or anything, but I did know scripture to the best of my knowledge that said he will be a husband to the widow and a father to the fatherless. And so it was like I called that out, and I was like, all right, if you're a husband to the widow, first of all, I hate widow. First time somebody called me that, I could have about smacked them. Because I'm like, I hate that word. But, okay, I have a husband, he died. All right, I guess that's a widow. So I took that on, and then I just was like, if you're going to be my husband would do this. My husband would love me like this. My husband would guide me in this. You said it. I didn't say it. I'm just calling you out to be who you said you'd be.
Yeah.
And stuff started happening, and I would have direction, and I would have little, like, calmings of, like, it's going to be okay. One of the favorite times of the day for Fred and I was to go to bed at night, because no matter where we were in our day, we always knew we'd be back together at night.
Yeah, that's great.
And so I just was like, I need you here in my bed at night. And I could tangibly feel being held. I could tangibly feel like whispers in my ear of, I love you.
Wow.
You're not alone. And I just chose, whether it was my imagination, whatever it was, I chose to believe it. And I'm like, I never needed you as a husband before.
Yeah.
So how could I know what you would be like before? Because I didn't need you as a husband like that. But now I do. And so I'm going to let you be that, and I'm going to believe it. And I say I live the most beautiful love story of anybody I hear talk about a love story like that. And there's beautiful stories, but mine for me personally is really beautiful, and I don't want it to ever end. And as crazy as it might sound, it was 14 years ago, and that experience is one of the most beautiful experiences of my life.
Wow. And just you being open to it, like, right? Something presents itself in a way, and you're like, okay, I'm willing to believe this. Mm-hmm. That's really all it takes. Like, thought form, what we are thinking about, what we're feeling, and what we're hearing, all those things, just being open to allowing that to enter into your life then provides the opportunity for an incredible shift and transformation.
It sure did.
Yeah. Yeah, like, would you describe it that way? Like, your life is transformed as a result of you just allowing yourself to connect.
Yeah,
with
I never
this
feel
feeling.
alone.
Yeah.
I'm never alone.
Yeah.
Physically,
Yeah.
there's no one else in my house.
Yeah.
Can I feel it? Can my heart?
Yeah.
A presence? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Conversations. I ride in the car. I'm always having a conversation. We're always talking. Like, oh, yeah, I think that's funny. Yeah. And just the sweetness of what a husband would be, of like, I can be driving and I can hear, you're so cute. I can hear these things. And I'm just like, thanks,
It's an amazing thing, because I think a lot of people that are hearing this and don't necessarily have this kind of experience, and I think the majority of people don't, it doesn't mean that they're not capable of having this experience. I think every single person has this ability, has this in them. And it may just be that they haven't had that level of stress for it to open up in a way, to have enough clearing and some level of like a breakdown of definitions. Like, if you're thinking in a certain way and consistently, and you think that it works for you, then there's no way for you to open up to the possibility that the love in your heart has the ability of being a companion, has the ability of being someone that can hold your hand, that can speak with you, that can give you information and advice that's really in tune with what you truly want in life for you, and not what you've been taught you want to have in life. So it's just it's a miracle, and some people might not think that miracles exist, but this is, I think, a perfect example of a miracle. And like, in terms of your life in the past 14 years, would you consider that like, there's just this incredible abundance for you as a result of you connecting with this voice of love?
Absolute abundance. Oh my gosh, in every way there's abundance.
And you're like present to it, right? Like, you're aware of it. Where most, we don't see that. We think like we're lacking in some way, but literally it's all right here for us all the time.
Yeah.
And you're aware of that, which is beautiful.
Yeah. And for me, part of the reason of sharing my story and being like this is like, I've come to realize you don't have to have a death. Can those things be a catalyst for it? Yes. But if you have somebody that, like you or even me, that'll walk alongside you and go like, oh, there it is, you see it?
Yeah.
There it is, you see it? And just help you awaken to it a little bit more, that the only way to live from your heart is not from experiencing something terrible. That is one way.
Sure.
But it's available to all of us all the time. It's free. It doesn't matter who you are, where you live, what kind of financial resource you have, anything.
Yeah.
It's right here.
Yeah.
And so I don't want people to think that it only can happen to her because this happened in her life. No.
Yeah.
Now that I'm aware, I didn't have anybody to speak that to me. So that's part of my reason for speaking, is like, it's happening in your life too right now.
Yeah.
And just help you become aware of it.
And it's just a willingness to break down definition. I really think that's the key. Some people are very hard definition people. Like, it's like black and white. There's no gray. And I look at it as there's only gray.
It's only gray.
There's only, to say that it's
the
only
both and
yin yang is like the unification of the yin and yang, and I think that's like, you know, because you and I live from our hearts, it's like we can see that a little bit more easily, and that having hard definitions just puts the individual in a tough spot, and they're always struggling for themselves. It's like, okay, if we choose to be limited in how we see things, then it's going to be difficult for how we are in our relationships with our friends, with our you know, people that we're intimate with, family members, or even strangers. Like, you kind of hold strangers away because you're in fear based on, you know, how you see things to be. It's like, no, just break down those definitions. Let all the definitions just evaporate. You can always bring them back based on the situation that you're experiencing, but to let them kind of, you know, flow, like you were saying before, when we're in our hearts, let it just flow naturally. You get a better experience overall of life.
Yeah. The black and white creates the division, creates the formula.
Exactly.
I have to do this to get that, and if that result doesn't happen, you know, I must be doing something wrong. And like, no, what if it's just flowing?
It's just flowing.
Yeah.
That's it.
What if it's both and?
Yep.
What if it's all working for my good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll share briefly what I went through to actually get there. I had this incredible dream that as I'm going through the dream, it was kind of a strange dream. What took place in the dream doesn't really matter. It was the feeling that I had in the dream, which was like profound truth. There was no other way of me debating it. Like, when you wake up from a dream it's so lucid, so encompassing, so like you feel it, like, you know, not to be super like silly or cliche, but it's like within your soul, you feel it, that this is the way that it is.
Wow.
And what I was told is that you need to learn to love every single person on the planet. And I woke up from that knowing that that's what I had to do. But in that state at that time was like the most foreign thing in the world. How in the world do you learn to love every single person on the planet? It's just a ludicrous concept. You don't know every single person on the planet, so how can you love them? And then you learn very quickly. You don't have to know them at all. You just have to know that they're human just like you. Yeah. And even if they're not human, that's okay too. Like everything, like, you know, animals, you know, the earth itself, the cosmos around us, you know, even like the inanimate objects, like the chair that I'm sitting on and what that gives me in terms of comfort, you know, like all these things that we are around in the exterior world, you can just love it freely and expect nothing back in return. But yeah, that was a challenge initially to kind of figure out, like, what is that about? And it comes down, what I learned was ego. When you remove the ego, or at least you silence the ego, you kind of put it on a pause button, ego being that talking aspect in our brain, that's when you have the ability to recognize just how special everything is in your life and all the people around you in your life. You just love them freely. But yeah, it was an amazing lesson. And I think it comes down to, for me, again, it was stress. It was a heavy amount of stress, but you don't need to have that stress necessarily to be able to break down those definitions and have life be something different for you. It can be just a choice. Your intent of saying, hey, I see people living in a certain way where they're smiling all the time. What are they doing? What are they eating? Like, well, what Kool-Aid are they drinking? Because I want some of that too. So the intention is simply, I want to live from a space that allows me to feel totally at peace, totally supported. I have all of the knowledge and information that I need. And if I don't feel that I do at the moment, I know it will come. Like, that's, you know, not to put words in your mouth, but that's like the voice of love for you. You have this all-encompassing presence that just puts you in a space of ease. No matter what the situation is, you're gonna flow with it in a way that allows you to be healthy and happy.
Yeah, I love that you said definitions. It's breaking down definitions. Maybe being open to changing your definition of something.
Sure.
And you also talked about ego, and ego is kind of like that. I've got to define definitions of things. And whenever I don't feel ease inside me, whenever I lose that peace inside me, for me that means I'm resisting something and I have my own definition about it and it doesn't feel good. And so I am so not wanting to not feel good. Is that double negative or something? But you know,
I get it.
I want to feel good.
Yeah.
So if I'm not feeling good, I'm thinking about something in a way that's making me not feel good. How do I change that?
Yeah.
And so I love that. And the thing about, you don't have to have these terrible things happen to you. That alone is enough to make me shift now.
Yeah.
Of like, oh, this doesn't feel good. And because it's always our choice.
Yeah.
And that definition. So like, I facilitated grief groups for a few years.
I didn't know that. How long ago was that?
It was a while ago.
Okay.
But I did it for a while, and to see people come through it, and you know, there's people that come through it as a victim, that this happened to me, this is the worst thing that's ever happened to me.
Yeah.
Poor me. And if you change your mindset about poor me, and that's that definition thing of like, death made me a victim.
Yeah.
Oh, what if death opened up a door to something new? And I know, you know, those aren't things I say to somebody right away.
Yeah.
But I know for myself that when I started changing some of my things, like silly things that they might seem really silly, but these were the things that helped me cope. Like I would go like, okay, I've got more room in my closet now. I can go shopping.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't have anybody to fix dinner for tonight. Poor me. Or I can have whatever I want to eat for dinner tonight.
That's yeah.
It was those little things that they were sad, and I could turn it into something of like, it is what it is. He's not here for dinner tonight.
Yeah.
What do I want to have for dinner?
Yep.
I get to have whatever I want.
There's
to.
a degree of light that you can see.
Yes.
Where at first, you know, it may seem like it's dark, but if you shift a little bit and look slightly different way, it's like, oh, there's actually a little bit of light here. It may not be, you know, the perfect amount of light, but I see it, and there's something that's positive in this.
Yes.
There's something that I can take from it in a way that's like a little bit different, as opposed to just feeling doom and gloom all the time.
Yeah. So when we talk about that heart space, like, those weren't huge leaps.
Yeah.
Those were those little conscious choices.
Yeah.
You know, like we can say it's raining today. Oh no. Or we can say it's raining today. My garden's going to grow.
Yeah.
You know,
You're
it's
going to
that,
get your vegetables growing that much faster.
Yeah. So for me, you know, when people ask, how did I get the way I am and to live in the peace that I do and the abundance that I do and the joy that I do, it's those conscious choices. And so I started doing it enough that I became aware of it, that now when something happens, I'm able to go like, oh, this doesn't feel good. Look at it different and see what is the good in it and how can I change my perspective. And if I needed a platform to speak of, it is death and losing my husband, because
Yeah.
that was so hard. And so I'm not just talking about it rained today and my garden can grow.
Yeah.
This is big stuff. And so I did have that big leap, but for the average person, you don't have to have those big things. It's just shifting a little bit, like you said, changing your definition of something. And
that's great. I think you talking about you know, people that play the victim card, and they're holding themselves in that negativity. It's not to say that, you know, you don't take as much time as you need, whatever it is that you went through, whatever it is that you've experienced, as difficult as that is, don't let it hold you there.
Right.
Like, grow from that.
Yeah.
There's some people that I know that do play the victim card for themselves, and all it's doing is holding themselves back. Do not ever let something that you've experienced in life keep you from doing what it is that you want to do. Like, there's no excuse from that. You can take all the time you need to heal, no matter what the level or degree of what it is that you've experienced, how much that impacts you. Yes, allow that healing to take place, but use it as a stepping stone to go into different spaces for yourself, to push you that much harder. You know, because it's very easy. Everyone experiences very difficult things in life. That's the nature of the game that we're playing here. You know, as human beings, that's we're supposed to deal with stuff that's difficult, but grow from it. Push yourself. Be in action. Don't hold back. Get on the court. Get out there and play.
Yeah.
You know.
The thing I love about that, DaKen, is that every person I talk to, it's like, you have the power. You get to decide that for yourself.
Yep.
And to me, that's like so cool, because again, I'm back to, it doesn't matter my social status. It doesn't matter anything. Nothing matters. There's no outside force. I can't have more money to make that happen. I can't have more friends to make that happen. I can't have another class to teach me that. I get to do it.
Yeah.
And so I'm so powerful. So I get to decide if I'm the victim, or I get to decide if I want to be free from that.
How liberating is that, right?
Yeah, because no one else has control over that.
Yeah.
It's just me. And so I really like that. And, like, I'll walk along with somebody as long as they want to change. But if they want to stay there, I'm not going to try to convince them they shouldn't.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to participate in that.
That's their choice, right?
That's their choice,
and that's their power. You're not going to impact their
and I
power
respect them for that. And
that's great.
That's fine. But if they're looking to change, if they want their life to be different, if you don't feel good, you get to feel good.
Yeah.
By you.
Yep.
Changing your thoughts about it, changing your actions about it, doing something about it.
I think that's an incredible revelation, I think, for people. And for those that do have that, really take hold in their thoughts, like, oh, you mean I have that power?
Yes.
Like, that's my choice?
Yes.
It seems odd, but I think a lot of people do have that. And I can relate, because I felt that too. Like, I didn't feel like I had power. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, I am the power.
I am the power.
Yeah. And that empowerment that does wind up happening, at first, I think it can set in a level of fear, because it's like, oh, wow, like, what? Like, how do I use this? I'll use the sheep and lion analogy. Like, you don't see yourself as a sheep until you recognize that you're a lion, and you're like, oh my God, I've been a sheep this whole time. Right. And I really am the lion. I am the one that possesses everything that I need to accomplish everything that I want to. And it's like, it takes some time to go, all right, I get it, I'm the lion, but I've been the sheep for so long. Like, what do I do with all this power? Like, how do I make this work in a healthy way for myself? Test it. Just test it. Just play with it. That's what I would say, is because I remember feeling that initially, going, wow, I literally can manifest anything that I want to, as long as I stay out of fear of vibration and just recognize that, I love everything on this planet. The fruit is going to grow, but it's like anything. Like, if you go to your brain and you're thinking about things, it's like, how's this going to work? I don't know what this looks like. You naturally have expectations, and I have my fair share of experiences where I know not to expect anything. Like, just don't expect. Literally, just like allow it to grow naturally, but you have to be in action. You can't be sitting, second guessing everything. You just have to allow it to go. And you don't know if what you choose to be in action with, the way that you choose to be in action, is going to pay out. But it doesn't matter. You just have to go out and do it. You have to push. You have to give it a chance, even if you don't know the things that you're doing really work towards it happening.
Yeah.
Purposely just go out and do something for the sake of saying that I did something, without having any idea what would wind up, being created as a result of it. It was just kind of having fun in being, having fun in the sense that I know that I'm alive right now. I'm able to breathe, so I can go out and I can do different things. I can meet different people, I can talk about different stuff, and I can share, whatever it is that I want to do. Mm-hmm. So I think it's something for everyone. Like, just get out and try something that feels right to you.
And then it's not just the doing, it's the being.
Yeah, it becomes the being aspect, yeah.
Yeah, like, I am this. Like, oh, wow. Even if you can't get out and do something, you can always just be something.
Yeah, sure.
And I love it. Like, I was talking to someone last night, and, like, just looking in the mirror, and this person says, like, they can't even look in the mirror because they just see all this that's wrong.
Yeah.
And I said, well, if you look in the mirror and you stay looking in the mirror for a minute or more, you will start hearing the amazingness about you, the beautiful things.
Yeah.
And so it's just being,
Yeah.
because your being doesn't lie.
Yeah.
Your being is truth. And so it's so exciting to, it might feel unusual, it might feel strange, like, what do you mean I'm beautiful? What do you mean I'm amazing?
Isn't
what do you
that
mean
funny?
you adore me?
Yeah.
Like, but like, if we all really was like, how does that feel to hear you're amazing, Daken?
Yeah.
There can be some shyness to us of like, well,
Sure.
you know, because we're taught
Yeah,
to be, you know, be
Yeah.
humble and all that
You don't want
stuff.
to own that so much. Yeah,
Right,
exactly. Be completely
right.
humble.
But
Oh
we
no,
all
that's
love
not
it.
me. Yeah, well, yeah, the
We
egos.
were created in that.
Yeah.
We were created to be love,
Yeah.
to be loved.
That's like our. I feel like that's our right.
Yeah.
The level of togetherness, even though we can feel so separate at times, like the whole reason I think that we're here on this level is to feel love. That's the whole purpose behind it, is basically, not to come back to the definitions again, but remove definitions that keep us from feeling loved. Like we're not allowed to, or like we're not worthy, or we don't deserve it because we've done these things in life, and
Right.
we've experienced this, and I'm at fault because of I did. It's like just ease all of that and allow yourself just to be open to feel love. And that's all that we're looking to do here. Behind all of the things that we keep ourselves focused in doing, task-oriented stuff, ultimately what it all boils down to at the end of the day is, I just want to feel loved. I want to feel that I can love, and I can have love come to me. And it may seem, like a little hokey to some people out there, but ultimately, if you really just relax into that idea for a second, you'll go, yeah, that's true. I really just want to feel loved. And then everything else will seem like it's okay. We get lost in the, I need to make X amount of money, I need to own these things, I need to take care of my bills, I need my kids to be, healthy and happy, and all those things on some level, sure, could be true for any number of people out there. But distill it down to one single thing, and it's, I just want to feel loved and be able to share love. That's it.
And to put some words to love is to be seen and known and accepted for just who I am.
Exactly how you are.
Exactly how you are, and I am enough in that.
Yeah.
Whether I'm tall, short, whether I have a squeaky voice or a really smooth voice, any of those things.
Yeah.
I'm just seen and known, and I'm just accepted the way I am.
Yeah.
And to me, that's what love is. And to give love would be that I will accept you the way you are.
Exactly the way that you are.
And I don't want to change you, and
Yeah.
I just love you. Now, some things, we can do some things, and that's where it comes into what we do is not our identity.
Yeah, it's very true.
Yeah. And I remember I made a mistake once, and I was so upset about it, and I woke up in the morning and I heard the voice of love say, yeah, you did do that, but that's not who you are.
Yeah.
You are this and this and this and this, all these amazing things. What you did, yeah, that was a mistake, but it doesn't define you. It doesn't change your value.
Mm-hmm. Having you here, being able to share some of your insight with what it is that you've been through, and talking about what you call the voice of love now, and how we can get there, just by knowing that it's a natural thing for all of us. We all are living from our hearts, whether we're aware of it or not. It's just recognizing it, easing up some of the definitions, and being able just to recognize how special we all are, and how powerful we all are, and how capable we are in making things that we want in life happen. And it doesn't have to be super strenuous, or tons of stress involved to get there. It's just a matter of being in action and enjoying the ride, as opposed to always, thinking about the end result. Have fun in the journey, and you'll see that the things that you're looking for naturally kind of showing up. So.